and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I'm Jane E. King, your host of the show. Thank you for joining us today in this beautiful almost summer day, June 19th, 2014 in Manchester, New Hampshire. Summer is on its way, and it certainly feels like summer today. It's nice and warm and breezy and perfect, dry, perfect summer day, even though summer's not officially here until Saturday. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. Thank you to Manchester TV for this lovely space and the ability to be here with you, this studio. And thank you to John Eric O'Neill for being our technical director. So New Earth Lifestyles is a community access TV show about offering to you, the audience, new ways of looking at life, alternative ways of perhaps helping you to heal, or just things that you don't normally see in everyday television. Today, I have my guest is here, Saul Solomon of Truly Natural Products. And so welcome, Saul. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you, Jane. Good to be here.
So, Truly Natural, I thought maybe if you wanted to talk a little bit about what Truly Natural is, and I know you started that many years ago, and tell us how that happened, if you can.
Well, it's a bit of a convoluted story, but basically I've been involved in the natural product industry for about 40 years now, and it started, I guess, in 1975 when my wife Kathy and I moved to New Hampshire from New York because we wanted to bring our family up, our planned family, up in the country. Mm-hmm. And I had a promise of a job at the New Hampshire Times Magazine, which I don't know how many people remember, but back then it was a weekly newspaper that was known for its muckraking qualities. It was an arch rival of Meldrum Thompson and the Public Service Nuclear Power Plant and the Manchester Union Leader, with all due respect. And I was promised a job there, and when we moved up, I found out that the newspaper was unfortunately going out of business the following week.
Oh my.
So I was in a position in which we had rented a house in Ware, New Hampshire, and we had a new baby on the way, our daughter Jen, who was born in 1975, and no income. And
wow.
So I, out of desperation, answered an ad in the Concord Monitor for someone to take over a route delivery business in northern New England, and these were magazines that I was reading at the time, like Mother Earth News and Solar Age, Solar Energy, and East-West Journal, New Age Journal. And I found that, much to my surprise, although I had been trained to be a journalist, I was a very good salesman when it came to selling products I believed in and things that I was already reading. So the long and the short of it is, after 1 year of doing that and really enjoying it, that company went out of business.
Oh, no.
So I decided to just do it on my own, and I did, and I started my first business in Ware, New Hampshire.
I see.
Delivering alternative lifestyle magazines throughout northern New England, and then that grew from that into selling moisturizers to natural food stores. Graduated from a little Fiat station wagon that I brought products around with to a van, and then it grew from magazines to books. We sold thousands of copies of Moosewood Kitchen.
Oh yeah, Moosewood Kitchen.
Which was just coming out back then, and Laurel's Kitchen and Diet for a Small Planet, and all of these signature books that really helped raise people's awareness of good nutrition and good health.
Right.
So that business then eventually morphed into offering holistic forms of healing, like flower remedies and homeopathic medicines. And so that business we had for 17 years, and we had a distributorship, and then I decided that what I really liked to do was the sales and marketing end of it and bringing new companies to market. So for the last 20 years, I've basically been doing that. And a significant part of my business and my focus has really been to educate consumers, especially women, because it's women to whom personal care products, beauty products are most oriented, to educate them about the toxic ingredients that are in commercial products and indeed in natural products as well. The maxim buyer beware is true. no matter where you look, whether it be for food or personal care.
I see. And even in natural products, you find there are toxins.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, there's a phrase called greenwashing.
Greenwashing?
Greenwashing.
Okay.
And
what
it
is
applies to products that purport to be natural,
Uh-huh.
but when you read the label, you find out they're anything but.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, go ahead, sue me, Clairol, but Clairol herbal essence I like to use as an example. You know, there are no herbs in it, but it's called Clairol herbal essence. But if you read the label, you find that maybe they dipped a chamomile tea bag in there, you know. But it's basically most commercial personal care products are made out of petroleum.
Oh. Ugh.
So if you're wanting to clean up your personal care product selection, the first thing you want to do is look at the label, and if it says mineral oil or petroleum products of any sort, those products all clog the pores in your skin, and they actually do the opposite of what they're designed to do.
I see.
So this greenwashing applies not just to commercial products, but also to products sold in natural food stores.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that. I mean, well, I guess I'm becoming more aware of it, but I'd like to hear more.
Well, the fact is the EPA and the FDA do not protect consumers from toxic ingredients, because basically the people who run the FDA and the EPA, like so many different arms of government, are populated by people who used to work for big industry. So in case after case, you have the fox guarding the hen house. And so they make the laws that allow these ingredients to be sold. I have a couple of pet peeves in natural today, which I'd be happy to share for your
Love to hear that. What pet peeves?
listeners to and viewers to be concerned about. But if you're using crystal deodorant stones, which proliferate on the market, they are now the largest category of deodorants in natural food stores.
Yes.
They say that they are natural and they contain no aluminum, but in fact the opposite is true. Every crystal deodorant stone made is made of either potassium alum, ammonium alum, or it may say mineral salts on it. These are all forms of aluminum. So while they say potassium alum on the ingredient list, they will also say next to it no aluminum.
How can that be?
They lie.
Right blatantly on the label.
They lie.
Wow.
And it's called marketing. I mean, you know, marketing is basically the art and science of making people convinced that they need to purchase products that are not good for them.
Wow.
I mean, look at cigarettes. I mean, you know,
Right.
back
exactly.
in the 50s, cigarettes were marketed as a health product.
A health product, and I know
Doctors
I've had
were smoking.
clients that said that their mother was told by their doctor to smoke cigarettes for their nerves or
Exactly,
whatever.
exactly. So crystal deodorant stones are anything but what they are advertised to
Wow.
be. And
Well, I'm going to have to stop using my crystal deodorant stone because that's what I've been using, and
Yep.
I gave it out to my sisters and sisters-in-law one year as a way to stay away from aluminum, as being one of the maybe one of the things that lead to breast cancer.
well, exactly. So what we found is that in biopsies of breast tissue from women who've had breast cancer, we find that there's a significant accumulation of aluminum in the tissue around
Really?
that
Around
area,
that area.
because of the accumulation of aluminum from antiperspirants and crystal deodorant stones in the underarm area.
Right.
But the whole concept of an antiperspirant is absurd when you think about it.
Well, that's true.
I mean, it's one of what I call the big lies out there. You know?
And it is a big lie.
It is a huge lie.
I find that when I eat clean food, I don't have a body odor.
Exactly.
It's amazing when I eat, especially meat products that you buy at the regular grocery store they're tainted with all kinds of stuff, that my body odor just rises terribly.
Yep, exactly, exactly. I mean, most of us don't need a deodorant. It's a product that most of us simply do not need. I mean, it's natural for us to sweat.
It's true. That's true. Our body wants to sweat, and it's cleansing. It's a way of cleansing.
It's part of the way our body balances itself out. So the whole concept of an antiperspirant is absurd.
Really.
I mean, you want to sweat.
You want to
And
sweat.
what the particles of aluminum do is they're large enough so they clog your pores. They
Oh,
clog
and-
the ducts of your pore,
Ah,
so it can't excrete anything.
I see.
And
Which
I
is
mean,
damaging your body.
so it's just another one of the reasons why we are subject to so many autoimmune diseases and disorders, and just another piece of the puzzle of why cancer is virtually epidemic in our country now. I mean, it's not the only reason, but it contributes. And the fact that these products are sold in natural food stores
Yes.
is very painful to me.
Yes.
Very painful.
It
that's
is, yeah.
so
Since you know all this, it must be painful. And I know the natural food stores are really more rampant with that type of product than we thought.
they are,
I
and
think.
frankly, when I talk to a lot of them, it's like they say, well, the products sell, so they're hesitant to take it off the shelf. So there's a certain amount of head in the sand
Mm-hmm.
with people who run natural food stores as well as elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good example of greenwashing, in my opinion.
Greenwashing, right.
Another is nail polish. Women wear a lot of nail polish,
Mhm.
and natural food stores carry toxic nail polishes. And basically the measure with nail polish is if you open the jar, and if it smells bad, if your head jerks back because of the fumes, it's toxic. It's that
That's
simple.
a little no-brainer.
It's that
I never
simple.
thought about it that way,
Yeah.
but that's true.
It's that simple. So there are water-based nail polishes on the market, and
Oh, there are.
that's what women should seek.
Mhm.
There are numerous brands out in the market, so they're available. You have to hunt for them.
Mhm. Do you carry any of those?
I have a couple of those brands, but they're widely available both in mass market and
Mm-hmm.
natural. There's two brands. One is called Suncoat, one is called Luna Star. So there's another one called Piggy Paint. There's Honeybee Gardens. There are quite a few out there that
Well,
offer
that's nice
a
to know.
natural alternative.
Right.
Yep.
And face cleansers and things like that are natural. I know I've taken some herbal courses on how to make your own cleansing grains
Yep.
for your face, and
Yep.
and then creams and so forth that are all my own. You'd make them in your kitchen basically, and then refrigerate them.
Yep.
And so when you look at the products on the shelves of some of these stores, if you can't pronounce them, that's a good indication too that it's probably not something you should be putting on your skin or in your body. Along with the food, I mean, there's so many ingredients in food these days that you can't pronounce the first few ingredients on the labels. So
It's not a good sign.
it's not a good sign.
No.
No.
No, although be aware that when you're reading natural product labels, they're required to list the Inky name, which means the Latin name, as well as the American name,
Oh, really?
so the English name. So the Latin names can sometimes be hard to pronounce, but
So you're
But-
saying that the Latin name, it may be a good thing if it's a natural product?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. So the things to watch out for are mineral oil, petroleum. Any kind of petroleum in personal care products is a real no-no.
Why is petroleum so bad?
It clogs the pores.
Clogs the pores.
It's that simple.
I always thought mineral oil was a natural product, but it's not, I guess.
Well, what is natural? So, I mean,
Right.
technically anything with a carbon atom is natural, and everything has a carbon atom. So
Because it's all from the earth.
that's right. And what is mineral oil? I mean, it's refined petroleum, which comes from deep in the earth, and it's basically decaying organic matter that's been sort of stewing for millions of years. So was it originally a natural source? Yes, it was. But is it appropriate to put on your skin? The only good use of petroleum on the skin is for a wound dressing, where you want to protect the skin from outside, infection. So Vaseline definitely has its uses as a wound dressing, but as a moisturizer, the molecules are too big. They just clog the pores. They don't penetrate the skin. They lead to blackheads. And it's interesting that the world's most popular moisturizers, Vaseline intensive lotion, is all mineral oil.
Ah, really?
So, yeah, so are lip balms, by the way, while we're on the subject. Because lip balms, I mean, chapstick, for instance, is another classic example. It's a mineral oil lip balm that people become addicted to. And the reason they become addicted to it is because it continuously dries out your lips. So it does the exact opposite
Wow.
of what you want.
Oh, wow.
So when that happens, then they have products like Blistex that are medicated, but have the same base, the same petroleum base. So you end up in an endless cycle. So for the people who make these products, I mean, they're actually very clever, because you get hooked on them, and you don't know what else to do. So the solution is buy a natural lip balm.
Like, what would be a natural lip
Oh,
balm?
there are hundreds of them in
that would be
natural
like
food
a-
stores. I mean, Burt's Bees is one of the most popular, but
Burt's
every
Bees.
every manufacturer has a wonderful array of lip balms. I mean, there are so many you can get now that have vegetable oil bases. They're completely vegetarian.
Vegetable oil lips, and that would penetrate the skin and moisturize the skin and really
Exactly.
do the work that you think it's doing.
Right.
Ah. Wow, that's good to know. And there's so many other products out there like that. So you've built, I mean, that you have this knowledge because you carry these products, or you help to distribute these products, and you want to know what your products contain that you distribute. Is that sort of where we're going, or where Truly Natural has bloomed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the industry has come from small mom and pop stores 40 years ago to 350, 400 Whole Foods stores now. I mean, there are big chains of stores all over the country, so there's no lack of really clean products to find now. The industry has become very competitive. It has mostly cleaned up its act. And I mean, if you go into a Whole Foods or any good independent natural food store, you'll find more products than you can imagine that are healthy for you, reasonably priced, good for your kids. So, but you still have to read ingredients.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was going to ask you. You
Still have to, buyer beware. You always have to read ingredients and check things out.
So be an advocate for yourself and your family all the time.
Exactly, because there's very little regulation going on. Certainly not the government.
Right. The government wants to self-perpetuate the big industries that are supporting them,
Yep.
keeping them in office.
Yep.
So.
You know, and the same thing is true for another one of my passions is alternative therapies like homeopathic medicines. And we were the first company to offer homeopathic medicines. This is about 25 years ago, before they were sold really in the United States. And
I see.
we live in the country, and we burn wood. We burn 5 to 6 cords of wood a year, and I invariably drop logs on my feet when I'm loading up the wood cart and bringing it in the house. And I had a eureka moment.
Eureka! Eureka! Let's gong on Eureka. Let me hear that Eureka moment. Woohoo!
I had a major eureka moment about 25 years ago when I dropped a log on my toe, bringing wood in, and it started to throb, and I knew I was in trouble. And a friend of mine had given me a tube of bruise ointment.
Bruise ointment that they made, or
No, that she bought from a company called John A. Borneman and Sons.
okay.
And I remembered that she had given this to me, and I had no idea what it was, but I thought, okay, I'm going to be bruising. And I put it on, and it was a miracle.
Wow.
It was a miracle. It was unbelievable. I had hardly any pain and hardly any swelling, no black and blue mark.
No bruising.
So I decided I was going to figure out what this stuff was. I called the company. They turned out to be a family-owned, third-generation homeopathic manufacturer in Pennsylvania. And
Wow.
the son of the owner of the company was very interested in bringing his products into natural food stores, which I was then doing. So he became my mentor. There's a man named Jay Borneman. And he taught me about homeopathic medicines, how to use them in my own life and how they worked. And then we started holding seminars in hotel rooms in Vermont and New Hampshire for retailers who wanted to learn about this new form of medicine. And that's how it started.
Okay.
So they started selling Borneman homeopathic medicines in their stores, and then Borneman was purchased a couple of years later by Boiron, the largest homeopathic manufacturer in the world, the
yes.
French company that makes the wonderful flu remedy, oscillococcinum.
Yes, the one that you have to get flu season every year.
That's right. So they brought them out, and then that was the beginning of homeopathic medicines appearing in natural food stores.
Ah.
And they were.
So you've been a trailblazer.
It's been my.
That thing on your foot, that log on your foot, opened us all to this whole world up to homeopathics in the United States.
Well, it was.
Well, anyway, in the Northeast.
I'm not claiming responsibility for it.
Well, you never know.
But I think I helped get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Certainly, and now when I walk into a natural food store and see a banks of medicines, it's very satisfying. It's very satisfying to see so many people embrace it. But on the other hand, homeopathy is still not a household word in the United States. It's still there's only a very small, limited number of people who know how to use the medicines, and in my opinion, there's nothing more worthwhile for an individual or family to learn than to use a basic selection of homeopathic medicines at home, because they are completely non-toxic, they work, and they're inexpensive.
Right.
So in my opinion,
it's a win-win.
It's the perfect form of medicine.
Sure.
What else could you want from a form of medicine?
Exactly.
It takes a little work to learn how to use the remedies, but not much.
What do you mean by the work? What's it take?
Well, you need to learn that arnica is for bruises. You need to know that belladonna is for sore throats.
So you just have to learn.
You just have to learn the remedies. You know, carbo veg is for upset stomachs. Nux vomica is for when you party too much at night and you have a hangover. You know you're going to have a hangover. You take nux vomica. So it takes a little bit of getting familiar with the remedies, but there's a core group of 20, 25 remedies that people use on a regular basis to deal with life's little aches and pains, colds. I mean, the tenet that there is no cure for the common cold that modern medicine tells us is true is false. There are actually many cures for the common cold.
That's true.
Depending on what type of cold you have. I mean, it's in the sort of
There's a cure for the common cold.
Yeah, many cures.
There's a cure for the common cold.
Many cures.
Many cures. All right. That's a big one. I mean, everyone gets colds all the time. They need to know about these homeopathics that can help the common cold, get over the cold. And I try not to get a cold, but many people get colds all the time. And the flu season too. That's a big one.
This was a particularly tough flu season this year too. So
Was it?
the thing I suggest people have is there's two products. There's one, it's called Cold Calm.
Cold Calm?
Cold Calm, and it's for general colds. It doesn't matter what the symptoms are, if it starts in your throat or your chest or your sinuses or a headache. If it's general cold symptoms, Cold Calm will normally knock it out in a day.
And how soon do you have to start taking that?
It's important to take homeopathics right at the onset of symptoms.
Right away.
Yeah, right away, as soon as you can, because then you nip it in the bud. And basically what you're doing is the medicine stimulate your immune system to heal itself.
And that's what the body's supposed to do. The body is made to heal itself, and we talk about that on the show all the time, that this body we have is designed to heal itself.
Exactly.
And the homeopathics just help that process along.
And that's one of the wonderful things I like about homeopathy is it directly stimulates the immune system in specific ways. Whereas when you and the word homeopathy means sort of similar to suffering. So the arnica, for instance, is a good example of how to understand how they work. Because if you were to ingest arnica tincture, you would break out in black and blue marks and bruising all over your body.
Really? Wow. If you were to ingest arnica tincture, you would break out in black and blue because it's there to... That's what it does, is it stops the black and blue.
In homeopathic form.
In homeopathic
Only
form.
in homeopathic
So
form.
So tell us about that, homeopathic.
So homeopathic form is a way of diluting and basically energizing a substance. So arnica, for instance, is you make a tincture of the arnica flower, and then you take one part of that and dilute it in 10 parts of alcohol or water, and you shake it. And it's the shaking or succussion that transfers the healing properties of the original substance into the alcohol or water.
It's the
Okay?
shaking.
It's the shaking.
Does it have
Because if you
anything-
just dilute it, it doesn't have those properties.
Interesting. And so, is there also an intention that the person must have when they're making this product that would help that to happen?
Well, some people think so. Some people think the remedies are more deeper acting when they are when there's an intention, and when the person who's doing the serial dilution and succussion is doing it by hand. These processes are now done by machinery in a lot of manufacturers, but there are still companies who are doing the hand succussion. Either way, they work. Either way, they work.
So
But
it's about the succussion, about the moving, the whatever that is, not percussion, but succussion.
succussion. So you're actually taking the substance and you're doing this with it onto a hard surface. So you're maybe exciting the molecules in there.
Okay.
So where homeopathy sort of loses people, and I hope we haven't lost too many people by now,
I don't think so.
is when it enters into this stage, because we're really entering into the stage of quantum physics,
Aha.
where we're talking about water having a memory.
Yes. Water having a memory.
And
Every molecule has memory.
every molecule has a memory. So this is at the heart of how homeopathic medicines work.
Okay.
Okay, is the memory, the signature, the memory of the healing
signature.
properties of the arnica are transferred into the water.
Okay.
So no matter how, and the other interesting thing about homeopathic medicines is the more highly diluted they are, the deeper acting they are. So
It sounds counterintuitive.
it is. It's,
Counterintuitive.
it
but
is,
it's,
exactly. It is it works exactly the opposite of how conventional medicines work. Conventional medicines, if you go to a doctor and you have a cold, he's going to give you something to suppress your symptoms,
Right.
to make them go away,
Right.
so you're not suffering. Homeopathy looks at the symptoms as the body's attempt to heal itself.
Which is what it's doing.
So we don't want to suppress those symptoms. We want to encourage them,
Just move them along faster.
move them along faster. So
Yeah.
that's what the remedies do.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Pretty cool. Yay. The body can heal itself through homeopathy, through the help of homeopathy.
My wife and I made a conscious decision when we started to raise our family that although we could afford health insurance, we chose not to have it.
Wow,
And
that's
for
a
our
big choice.
entire life, we've never paid for health insurance, other than when my wife was pregnant twice. We wanted to have it for the hospitalization, for the birth. But we've never had health insurance because we've refused to participate in a system that's based on fear and based on medicating ourselves in ways that we simply don't believe in.
Right.
So our primary form of medicine has been a homeopathic kit. You know, you can get a kit with 30 or 40 remedies, and in it you have 95 times out of 100, the cure is in that little box.
Wow.
And on the few times when we've needed to go to a doctor, we go. You know, I mean, we're not fanatics about it, but we've found that we've probably saved several $100,000
Yeah.
over the course of 35, 40 years, and
And you're healthier for it.
we're healthier for it.
Right.
So
Wow.
I can't recommend purchasing a kit enough. You can buy them online. You can get them at a market here in Manchester. Any health food store can special order it for you. And there's a book called Everybody's Guide to Homeopathic Medicines, which we found is the best. It's very easy to use. So enough
Wow.
on homeopathy.
Right, but that's great. Thank
Yeah.
you for that, Saul.
Sure.
That's amazing information to help us to live healthier lives, and that's all available to us in our local health food store or online. And is it pretty much Byron, or there's another Highland also?
Highlands is another reputable manufacturer, and actually the gentleman I mentioned earlier, Jay Borneman, went to Highlands and has been running that company for 20
Oh, I
years.
see. So that's
Highlands is known for their children's remedies, especially.
oh, I see.
And I have to mention my granddaughter Eliza
Of
somewhere
course.
during this chat, who happens to live just near Manchester. But my 2.5-year-old granddaughter now, she knows when she gets a bump or bruise, she asks for arnica.
Oh, really? Isn't that amazing? Well,
And-
sure, you can just bring them up that way,
Just
and
takes
they
the
know.
pain away right away.
And it takes the pain away right away.
But there's
And
nothing safer that you can give to children because there are no side effects.
That's so amazing. That's so beautiful. I'm so grateful that you're here telling us all these things. And I haven't had health insurance since 1996 when I quit my job and went into the healing practice in the healing school. And I am absolutely an advocate as well of natural remedies because I'm not on any medication and I haven't been on health insurance since then. And I don't think we need health insurance. I personally feel I do not need health insurance.
Well, I was having a conversation with some neighbors actually yesterday who came to my garden to pick up some lettuce because as I mentioned to you, I have a lot of lettuce to give away, and
Nice organic garden.
nice organic garden. And they were very interested in learning about these remedies, but they were so. I lost my train of thought there.
You're talking about
Oh,
health insurance?
I'm sorry. It had to do with the garden and
Yep.
organic food. And
Okay.
I was one of the women is ill
Mm-hmm.
with a serious illness, and I was suggesting to her that she cut out all sugar and white flour
Mm-hmm.
and go on a mainly vegetarian diet and eat only organic foods, and especially if she's going to eat beef, eat organic beef. And she said to me, "But it's more expensive."
I know, that's what everyone says.
It's more expensive. So,
But what are you paying for insurance? How many thousands of dollars are they putting into insurance?
well, it's not just, but it's also, so there's that.
Right.
But there's also, the main reason to eat organic food is because it doesn't contain toxins. It doesn't contain pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics. I mean, every time you eat a conventional food, you're putting a certain amount of these toxins into your body, and these accumulate in our system, in our cells.
Mm-hmm.
So if for no other reason, eat organic because you're not poisoning yourself.
Right. And it's really not that much more expensive.
It really isn't when you come down to it, and
I
if
don't
it helps
find
you,
anyway.
yeah, and if you're not going to the doctor as often,
Yeah.
plus it tastes better.
And plus you're healthy. I mean, how much is your health worth? I mean, that's all we have really is our body and our health.
Well, all food used to be organic.
It did. It did.
100 years ago, it was all organic because chemical fertilizers based on petroleum hadn't been invented yet.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, there was actually an article in the paper last week by someone saying that cows that wander around, free-range cows that wander around outside, are worse, are more harmful to the environment
Well,
than being kept inside pens.
what?
This was printed as a news
This is
story.
backwards.
Right. I mean, so we've become so divorced from the natural world,
From the earth.
from the earth. We are so disconnected that big lies like this are easy to take hold. And I think that's, that's really the central issue is we've lost our connection to the planet, to the earth.
We have. Very much so, and I think they're actually teaching that in schools. I mean, they're not teaching in schools. It's a subject that is not covered like it used. Agriculture and where your food comes from is not something that's focused on in the education, especially for children that are in city areas and urban areas.
It's tragic. I mean, when we moved to the country, the first thing we did is we put in a garden.
Right.
I mean, I
Grow your own food.
grow your own food, but
And that's
it's-
what they're saying about who is the Obama, Michelle. That's what the first thing she did when she moved into the White
I
House.
loved
She
it.
started her own organic garden in the
Loved it.
backyard of the White House.
Yep.
Or was it on the roof? I don't know. No, I didn't watch.
No, it's in the garden.
It's
It's
in-
right out.
it's-
It's right on
it's
the
right
White
outside.
House lawn has an organic garden in it.
Right.
It's wonderful.
I mean, that's the best model that can be. Is the people in the White House, who is in the White House right now, is growing their own food, because they want to eat clean. They want their children to be clean, and it's a good model for all of us to really look at what we're putting in our body and the toxins that are in the grocery store.
I think so.
So Saul, you're writing a book, right?
Well, I'm
You-
hoping it'll turn into a book.
Well,
I
you're
mean, it's
writing
a series of essays I've been working on for a
series
few
of
years.
essays,
but,
yeah. And I thought maybe if you wanted to touch on the subject of that.
Well, it's sort of talking about this whole issue of how we're so disconnected from the earth. I mean, I look around the world today, and it's a mess.
To say the least, yeah.
And I've been, a number of years ago, this thought popped into my head, and I haven't been able to get rid of it. So
Kind of like the log falling on your foot.
Exactly.
Those big
Exactly.
ha-has.
And it is that we're all here to do the same thing. We all have the same work to do, but we've forgotten it. And it is to take care of each other and the planet, to celebrate through games and play, the miracle of life, and to elevate each other. We do the first two. We're elevating each other, our consciousness, and
Celebrate.
caretake, celebrate,
Caretake,
elevate.
celebrate, elevate. I like that.
Well,
a nice trilogy.
And I'm sort of working on that idea and developing that and trying to get that thought out into the world. But it seems like the only way things are able to happen in the world the way they're happening is if we've lost our humanity. I mean, how can you fly a plane into a building? I mean, how can you shoot a 14-year-old girl who wants to have an education? I mean, how can you kidnap the girls in Nigeria and take them away because they want to have an education? I mean, it's beyond belief.
Beyond belief.
And
Yes.
at the core of this, I believe, is our disattachment to the natural world. Because once we renew that attachment and we realize we're part of a larger picture, we understand that life is a gift. Nobody teaches us in school that life is a gift.
No.
Nobody. I mean, it's sort of like, in medical school, doctors don't learn anything about nutrition. In public school, we don't learn anything about our role in the universe or our connection to the planet. We don't learn gardening. We don't learn how to grow things in school. We're so disattached. And I think this is at the core of all of our problems.
Of all the problems on
all
the
the problems.
whole
It's
earth.
it all comes down to the same thing. I mean, as we were saying in the car, I mean, I think there are clear choices. We're at a tipping point right now. I mean, anyone with eyes to see, every day we're reminded through some additional horrific event of how discombobulated things are. I mean, I like to think of the world as completely out of balance, and we live in an upside-down world. There have been 72 school shootings since Newtown, once a
Wow.
week.
Since Newtown?
Once a week.
You're kidding.
Once a week. It's been happening. And
What?
so we're becoming hardened to it now. Now it's becoming, okay, what happened today? Didn't somebody else get shot? I mean, so,
Unbelievable.
This-
I don't watch the news, so
well,
You-
it's hard to watch. It's difficult to watch for those reasons. But I think at the core of that is people don't run around shooting each other. People don't start wars if they're happy, if they're content, if they have the basics of life. And, we're at a certain stage in life where we've traveled enough, we've met enough people to know that the vast majority of people are good people. They all want to do the same. They want to do the
Absolutely.
right thing.
yes.
They want to live a good life. They realize we're only here for a very short period of time. And that it's an incredible privilege to have been born on the earth.
It is.
You
It's
know?
an amazing privilege. This is an amazing planet that wants to support us, does support us, gives us everything we need.
Well, we call the earth our mother,
We do.
but look at how we treat her.
I know.
Would we treat our mother the way we treat the earth?
I hope not.
Well, we wouldn't. So it almost feels to me like we have to either come up with another name for the planet. But she's
No.
certainly not our mother. Not the way we're treating her. We would never treat our mother and the way we treat the planet. And one of the other things that irks me is we have Earth Day. We only devote one day a year to paying attention to the Earth. I mean, it's
We should do what, once a month? Once
every
a
day
week?
should be Earth
Well,
Day.
of
Every
course,
day should be
every
Earth
day.
Day. You know?
Pay attention. Right. You see something on the side of the road, pick it up.
So I think, as you know, I've been spending a lot of time with my granddaughter, Eliza,
Yes.
who's now 2.5. And one of the things I love being with her for is because everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. I mean, it takes a half hour to walk 10 steps because everything is a miracle. And she's tuned in to the fact that life is a gift and that life is a miracle. She doesn't have to be taught that. It was her birthright. She came into the world knowing that. We all come into the world knowing that, I believe. And then it gets beaten out of us by life's hardships and difficulties. And I think that's what Jesus meant. Not that I'm, Christian, but when he said that, we should we should be like children, and because they are going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Well, it's because children have that wonder. They haven't lost their wonder about life and existence.
Right.
They don't need to be told that, as far as we can see in the universe, this is the only planet that maintains life. I mean, that is such an amazing fact.
I know, what a gift that we're all kind of squandering. We're squandering it away because we're not paying attention to that. We're not paying attention to our own, what we were talking about, our own body. If we take care of our own body and our family's body by eating clean food and paying attention to what you put on your skin and what you accept into your life and what you watch on television, everything you put into your body, is the earth. I mean, we're all children of the earth. So how you take care of yourself reflects back to how you take care of the earth in many ways. And giving thanks to the earth, having gratitude, pardon me, is another big piece of walking on this planet with soft moccasins or barefoot or softly, appreciating and I talk about this a lot on the show, is just appreciating the breath, this clean oxygen that we're breathing in every single moment of our lives. It comes from the earth. She gives that to us freely, unconditionally. And we're squandering that.
We're squandering it, and we're fouling our nest.
Fouling our own nest.
And
Exactly.
it's criminal. I mean, we've been given this incredible, heaven on earth. Don't wait till you move to the next dimension to find heaven, folks. It's right here.
That's true.
Heaven and hell is right here.
It's true.
Created.
We created ourselves.
And we've forgotten who we are and what our purpose is in life. I mean, it's either, we're either a dog-eat-dog world, or we really are our brother's keeper, and we have to have a choice to make.
Dog eat dog or brother's keeper? Well, I'd like to be my brother's keeper.
Me too.
I really would. And so we were talking also along the way about solutions, and what are some solutions to this, or how can we turn this around? Maybe that's a nice challenge to put out into the audience. How can you turn it around? Would you want to be a dog-eat-dog person or a brother's keeper person?
Well, I've seen tremendous changes in the natural product industry over 40 years.
I'm sure you have, yeah.
And it's changed society in many ways. I mean, we have the slow food movement now. We have community gardens and
markets. What do I call it? Farmers markets everywhere in the state.
Everywhere. People are making good choices with their pocketbook, and ultimately, that's what the big companies and government respond to, is people making positive decisions, and especially with their purchasing choices.
Right.
I mean, Walmart announced a couple of years ago that they were going to sell organic food. Well, this didn't come from their heart.
And do they sell organic food?
They do. They're one of the world's largest purveyors of organic food now.
Wow.
But it's because they recognized it was a
That's
profit
where people
channel
are going.
for them.
Good for you. Good for those people out there.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So
Going organic.
it really all, I think, depends on the personal choices we make, because those personal choices mount up, and the people who sell us products and services, they pay attention to what people are asking
Right,
for.
the statistics.
So if we could
Right.
just pull ourselves away from, all of the toys we have, the iPhones and the iPads, which I have too, the wonderful toys we have, and for a few minutes and look at the bigger picture.
Right.
I think that's, I think we're all sort of seduced by these toys, by
Right.
how easy it is here in the Western world for those of us who are fortunate enough to be born into a society with means
Like this, yeah.
like this.
Have gratitude every day for being born in this free world, so-called.
Yep. But it's easy to get distracted. And it's easy to lose sight of what's really important, because there's so many fun things to do that distract us. And we don't have, we were talking about We don't have too many positive visions either.
Like what?
Well, everything that's coming out of Hollywood is doom and destruction.
Oh, yes, movies.
And,
film.
video games. I mean, they're so based on violence and the celebration of violence.
Right.
And where are the utopian novels? Where are the visions for what life
What
could be like?
Yeah.
And it's not like these ideas aren't out there. I mean, we could transform the planet very quickly. Very quickly.
We could.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it would take long at all if we had a common goal. If people realized we're in this together. To look at the Earth now as a series of separate countries that are all trying to
gain power,
or be the best or have an advantage over someone else, rather than we're all in this together, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, the Fukushima power plant releases radiation. It's affecting everybody. We're all breathing it in. It's polluting the ocean. I mean, this is one world. We're all in this together.
True.
So.
And that's happening today.
It is happening.
It's not stopped. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's not on the news any longer either. But Fukushima is still leaching.
Oh, it's horrible.
Those toxins into the ocean. There's a river that goes right underneath it. It's flushing it into the ocean every single day.
Yep. So we're all affected. There's no escape. There's no safe place anymore.
there's
And
not.
unless we pull together, it's not a pretty picture.
No.
But the good news is that there's a lot of good things going on. I was just reading that the solar energy output in Massachusetts doubled over the last 2 years.
Wow, 2 years?
Yep. And I mean, Germany is putting in solar energy in every way possible. They're looking to be 100%
Really?
energy efficient.
Germany?
Yep.
Wow.
Germany.
So there is that. That's a good change.
Yeah, the cost of
Positive.
solar power is going down. I mean, here we have an unlimited, or at least for another billion years or so, scientists tell us, source of energy coming from the sun. It's free. It's incredibly powerful. We could eliminate the use of fossil fuels entirely within a short period of time if we had the same kind of effort that my parents told me about that they went through in World War II.
Oh. What
when
was that?
My father went off, the men went off to war,
Right.
and the women all went to work to support the war effort. And everyone sacrificed, everyone had a common goal. That's the kind of effort we need now,
Right.
for leaders across the world and for people to demand from their leaders that we stop this petty partisanship that we have now. Stop trying to separate from each other.
Right.
Let's bring each other together. Let's
together.
realize we're all on the same page.
Right.
And
How can we make this better together? Yes, I agree. Because we are all together. I mean, this is one Earth, as you say. Then coming together is the only way to solve the problem. And money can be made just as easily coming together as it can by bumping heads.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, more money can be made.
Absolutely,
way.
yeah, more money.
Yep.
Because
These are all emerging technologies that we need to put people to work on when we have a failing infrastructure in the United States. We have several 100,000 troops coming home from war. They don't know what to do with themselves. Why don't we put them to work?
yeah,
Rebuilding the infrastructure.
absolutely.
I mean, so
It makes a lot of sense, but it's not something that's being introduced into the plan at this point. But that's a great plan, giving the troops a job when they get home. And they need a job that they see they have some self-esteem building at the same time and some integration back into the world because they're coming from a place that's totally foreign.
and they want to serve. They want to help.
They do.
Yep.
Absolutely. They
Yep.
want to be of use.
Yep.
They want to help.
Yeah, instead of not taking care of them,
Right.
we should help
And letting them become homeless and
put them to work. Yep.
good idea, Saul. That's some good solutions. Very good solutions there. I did see on my Facebook a little while ago that there's a family, a man that's an electrical engineer that created these photovoltaic cells to put on his patio, and he's lobbying to have them become streets because they're made out of a certain type of glass and that is non-destructive, and because they're all wired in, and when one goes out it would tell you it went out, and so you'd be powering the town, or you'd be powering everything you need from your streets that are
Yes.
always having the sun beat on
Yes, yes, this idea has been around for a while.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There are a lot. There are so
Even if
many.
you put your patio, made it into your patio, I mean, it would take away, I mean, I don't know, the sight of, some people don't like seeing the photovoltaic things on the roof, but, or on the, there's so much pavement everywhere. Why not start that as a new step to begin?
Well, that concept is also out there for highways.
Yes, the highways.
For highways where there's constant traffic. Just think of the electricity that could be generated from that.
Yes.
Yes. So the solutions are all there.
Mm-hmm.
We just lack the will to implement them.
And the powers that be that control the current system don't want to lose their finger from the pot.
That's right.
Unfortunately, that's where it all comes from. So, how far along are you on this book? It's short stories.
It still needs
essays.
it's going to be a little while. It needs some work.
Because we'd love to have it. I'd love to read it. And I know you've sent me portions of it that you started, and it was fascinating. And the world needs this kind of information and insights. And you've lived your life in an amazing way. How many people have been able to say that they have not had health insurance for the past 40 years, and that you have techniques to keep your children and yourself healthy, and that you grow your own food, and you're very happy and healthy and successful, and everything people, I mean, you are a perfect model for how we all can live our lives.
Well, I don't know that my wife would agree completely.
Well,
but thank you. And I just, from an early age, I knew what I didn't want to do.
You knew what you didn't want to do. Isn't that fascinating?
And
you
I
stayed-
think a lot of young people know what they don't want to do, but they don't know what they want to do.
Right.
But they're not, for whatever series of reasons, they don't pursue finding out what they really want to do.
Right.
And that's very unfortunate.
That's the key.
That's very unfortunate. I mean, I ran away from home when I was 19.
Wow.
It took me a while,
Yeah.
but to find if there were places in the world where people treated each other any better or lived cooperatively together.
Oh, so that was part of why you left home, to see?
That's why I left.
Because you had a really tough life at home, and so you wanted
Not
to...
a tough life. No, I had a good life at home.
Oh.
But when I was in college, I had a college deferment. This was during the Vietnam War in what was it?
60s?
1966,
Mm-hmm.
when I left home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is it a call? You'll tell me.
I didn't. I had a very comfortable life. I had a great upbringing in New York, a very loving family, but I knew I didn't want to become a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or some other tradesman. They just weren't calling to me. And I knew I wasn't going to fight in the Vietnam War. It made no sense to me. And nor was I going to go into Peace Corps. I just didn't feel like it was the right thing. So I arranged to live in Israel for a year on a kibbutz, because I found that there was a form of sort of everybody was sharing all their resources on the kibbutz. It was a communal farm, and I wanted to learn about it, so I did. And it was an amazing year. It was the best decision I ever made. I learned so much that year, and then I traveled around Europe for another year after that, just having amazing experiences, and ended up coming back to the United States and then living in a intentional community in West Virginia for 3 years after that. So I think my life has been sort of a search for community, and a way to live a fuller life in context with other people. And I think for people starting out today, it's imperative that they don't settle for a job that they don't like because they're afraid they're not going to get by in the world. It takes a certain amount of courage to break out of the mold. But if you're not sure what you want to do, go find your passion. I mean, it's out there. And if we have the understanding that what we're really here to do is, first and foremost, not to make $1 million, but to take care of each other, to take care of the planet. How can we contribute from that perspective? It changes things.
It certainly does. It certainly does. the whole world would change if we could all look at it from that point of view.
And it wouldn't take long.
It wouldn't take long.
No.
Especially if the young people get involved and they start looking at their passion, looking at why they're here and what they want to be doing in the world, instead of going to college because I need to get out to make so much money to raise a family, have a house, and all whatever.
Yeah. We need to reinvent society.
Reinvent society. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what we need to do. So how can we do that?
Small steps.
One step at a time, and
Small
small
steps.
And I think you being on the show is a big help to not at least, but to be a living model for that, because you have lived your life in such a way that you found out what you didn't want, basically, and came into. So by taking away what you didn't want, it opened you up to what you do want, and being an advocate for health food and healthy ways of living and healthy ways of taking care of taking care of families and communities. So. Thank you for being on the show today, Saul. This has been very informative. I'm really excited.
Thanks for having
to have you. So, is there any way that people could get in touch with you if someone had any questions or
email?
Email. Okay.
It's Sol SOLTNM, like Truly Natural Marketing, @gmail.com.
Okay.
Be happy
Great.
to hear from anyone.
Okay. In case anyone has any questions or any direction that you want to go to help bring us into this place of what are the caretaking, celebrate, elevate. Those are the things we want to do. Great. So thanks for joining us today, and I hope you got a lot out of the show. And until next time, remember, your heart knows the way.